Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. In this video, I want to talk to you about the importance of applying consistent rules to dogs in your home if you have more than one dog. So why is that important? I'll tell you why. Because in many cases, I've brought dogs in for board and trains from clients, dogs that, let's say the owner has a multitude of different issues that the dog is exhibiting, different behavioral issues that they want to resolve. So the dog comes into me for 2 or 3 weeks. I work on those issues. The dog is coming along beautifully. He's becoming way and way better. He's not as reactive to other dogs. He's walking better on a leash, whatever those issues might be. Part of that is because I have selected the right strategy to work with this dog. The other part of it is that I've removed him from the home where he practices that type of behavior in the first place. So here's what I've seen happening over the years that really concerns me. In many cases, people will have, let's say, two dogs. The dog that is misbehaving is, well, they're both misbehaving, but the one that gets sent to me for rehabilitation is the larger dog, because it's always more difficult when a larger dog jumps up on your company when they come over, or when a larger dog attacks another dog, or a larger dog is pulling on the leash or being reactive on the leash and lunging and embarrassing the client. Obviously, it's more difficult if it's the larger dog. But what I see in many cases is that both dogs, the small dog, maybe like a little 10, 12-pound dog, and the big dog are both exhibiting the exact same issues, but the big one comes to me for rehab. So I'll send that dog home after a while, and then what happens is slowly but surely those issues creep back up again, sometimes sooner rather than later, like almost immediately. The owner will say, well, some of these issues are coming back. He was great for the first day. Now the second day, some of these things are happening again. In some cases, especially in my earlier days of working with dogs, I would go get the dog again, bring him back in. Miraculously, he quit doing those behaviors like the second he got in my car to come back home. So what I was able to figure out after several years of doing this is that what's happening is that the rules applied to both of those dogs in the home were not consistent. So one dog that was the larger dog usually created the most chaos from the owner's perspective, and so that's the one they wanted to be fixed. But both of the dogs actually had the same issues, and they played off of each other. On top of that, the dog that is not coming into me for rehab creates a tremendous amount of disruption and anxiety in the home. A lot of times the owner will even say to me, when I point out the fact that their other smaller dog is misbehaving or doing some of the same things that they've sent their other dog in for, they'll say, well, it doesn't really matter. He's little. It doesn't matter if he jumps on my guest. He's little. It doesn't matter. He's not trying to count. He can't counter surf because he's too short. It's okay if he gets up on our bed uninvited because he doesn't take up that much space. So they'll have all these excuses for why it's not important to them that the smaller dog misbehaves. But here's what I want to suggest is that it should be important. And the reason is because of the disruption that it creates in the home and the anxiety that it creates for the other dog. I've been able to notice it more and more over the years of where I actually feel bad for dogs that are going home, because I know that that peace and that stability and balance that they had with me and my pack is going to go away the minute they step into that household, because the owners have selected the one dog to rehab, but they haven't applied what they've learned to the other dog. So I feel bad for the dog that goes back home because he has to go into that exact same environment again. So what I suggest is that if you have rules, or if you're working with a trainer, or you've just done this on your own and you've decided, okay, we're not going to do any more of this. We're going to start asking for eye contact and relevancy before we allow the dog to go through thresholds. We're going to make him wait for his food. We're going to work on his leash skills and so on and so forth. If you do that, then apply those same things to your dog, your other dog. So what I found out, some of the reasoning is that it just doesn't bother them as much, or in many cases they feel like, well, I just hate to do that to the other dog. I hate to apply those same rules and that same strategy of discipline and structure, as though discipline and structure are somehow a punishment. They're not. In fact, in the human world, if we don't discipline and structure ourselves, we do get punished by society as a whole. If we don't show up at work on time for 3 days in a row, we're probably going to get punished by getting fired, right? So discipline and structure are things that are great qualities to have for both a dog and for people. So don't think about anytime you think about a dog's bad behavior, and you've come up with a strategy to fix it, maintain that training for both members of your pack. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard for you to maintain the rehabilitation and the balance of the dog that's coming back in from a board and train. So that's really important. I've seen dogs where as soon as I bring them home, they start to pant, their ears are pinned back, they become stiff. There's all kinds of signs that I can read now that I maybe wasn't able to read in my early days of my career, but that now I can see. I even had a dog one time that I took home here locally that didn't want to get out of my car. That's how bad it was, because he knew when he went home, he was going to be greeted by, just total chaos. So it's really important. The same way it was, I remember when I was a kid, I was 15 before my parents let me pierce my ears. I know kids do it way younger now, but I was 15 and I just waited and waited for that opportunity. My sisters both got to pierce their ears when they were really young. So, those rules weren't consistent, and it created some resentment on my part because, of course, the firstborn always gets all the rules, right? But it created some resentment on my part because the rules weren't consistent. So think of that with your dogs as well. It causes a lot of confusion if you're asking one dog to stay by your side, but you're letting the other dog, go crazy on the leash, and you're letting one dog jump on your guest, but not the other one. I would suggest you don't let them jump on any guest, and you make it very clear to your dogs what it is that you want, and you maintain those principles and that strategy for both dogs. That's all I have to say about that. Hope you guys are having a good evening, and I will talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.